Hi, it's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, the Women's Broadcast TV Network, Worldwide TV Network, IT247. And this is our third show today that we're doing, but I wanted to knock it out because I couldn't let this young, beautiful lady get by without doing a one-on-one interview with her. I want to call her one of my other co-hosts because she is, and it was all about timing, as she will tell you, and her name is Anna Whalen.
Oh, thank you so much, Brian. Thank you.
Let's do here. Let's talk about, for those people that don't know who you are, tell them who you are, where you came from, and what you do, and then what you want to do, because you do a whole lot of stuff and you're funny as hell.
I mean, you are not wrong at all. I've done so many things. I actually, woo!
See, she makes me laugh no matter what she's doing.
I actually put things on the paper because I knew that we're going to be talking about me and
yeah, when's the last time you had a chance to talk about you?
I put this down on the paper and it didn't fit. But I was born in Moscow and I was doing competitive ballroom dancing throughout my childhood, and then I got into Moscow State Linguistic University to study psychology, and then I got into modeling, and then back into dancing, but already professionally and with money paid for it. And then I moved to United States in 2010, and I was dancing here, and I was in the dance schools, and then I started doing the Kundalini yoga, and then I moved to Brazil and I opened a dancing school in Brazil, and that's where I started doing jewelry, and I was into yoga, and I was into I got into martial arts, and then after a year in Brazil I moved to Hong Kong, and
did you like Brazil and did you like Hong Kong?
I did not like Hong Kong, to be honest. It's a great city to catch up, to mingle, to kind of meet new people, but I did not like it. As artistic person as I am, it did not speak to me because it's more of a financial world, more of the world for those people who are in finance and in all those spheres of business. So for me it was odd, and and I really am more drawn to this kind of warm, welcoming, dancing vibes like Brazil, right? Like South.
That's the artist dancer in you, isn't it?
Say it again.
That's the artist and the dancer in you, isn't it?
Yes, there is all that. I've been painting. I've had a jewelry line at some point. I graduated film school when I came back to US. So I studied filmmaking, everything behind the camera. I started actively blogging back in Brazil, and that's when I decided that I really love telling people interesting things on camera, and that's when I kind of realized that hosting is really something that's speaking to me. And then when I got back to LA, I started hosting red carpet events and creating my own content with editing that I've done. And then I got into pageantry. And I won a few titles. In fact, they have my sashes over there.
What year is that one?
Huh?
What year is that one?
Oh no, this is, I think I have all of them there. I have Miss Russia L.A, Miss Russia California, and Miss Russia United States. Miss Russia L.A started in 2017, and Miss Russia California 2018, and Miss Russia US. I was the first vice Miss Russia United States also in 2018. And that was an interesting experience that led me to other things and other interests. And then a year ago I got married, and I have a 5-year-old daughter. And I'm very happily existing right now in this reality. I'm very lucky, I think, and it's odd to say, but it's a very exciting time when we're shifting into this new world and new reality. And I think it's very important to encourage people to look at it as an opportunity. versus a punishment of any sort. So we have to look for new things to do, for new opportunities, for new ways to connect. So it is a very exciting time right now, and I'm very excited to be here. So thank you for having me.
Well, hey, I'm glad that when we got a chance to meet through, I mean, I like her. I don't get a chance to talk to her, but I want to see eventually if we can bring her on, the three of us, and talk about, because this time last year, um, Miss Russia L.A. was going on. And, the 3 years that I went to that, I enjoyed it. I met some really cool people there, and it was good to see that. And now we're not getting a chance to see these things, so you're missing them. And what was that like for you to be on that red carpet to actually do the interviews last year? And then the year before that, you were actually the winner.
So I was the winner on Miss Russia L.A., and then I passed my crown as I won Miss Russian California. And what happened with Miss Russian California, I won, and then I passed the crown, and then I was judging. So I had those 3 years, and then in between I won Miss Russian US, right? So like it was this like 3 years of this like very interesting, very cool pageantry experience, and it was very exciting, and I'm very proud and very honored to have those titles. However, I did that purely for fun. I did not expect to win. I did not expect to, to gain something specific from it. I was just purely having fun, and I've met a lot of great people, including my good friend and a co-host, Brian Sebastian.
Talk about what Leica brings to what she created there, because it's a great event. Not a lot of people know about it. Enough people know about it, but a lot more people could know about it. She's created something that's very unusual, which is really cool.
Yeah, it is very unusual. You don't really see Miss Russian India, Miss India US, right? Or Miss Iran. I don't know. Like you don't see all those nations. Slavic women, they are known for their beauty somehow throughout the world, and I think Lika saw that, and she used that as an opportunity to bring people together, and I think that worked out really well. I think it's been 9 years for her making those events, and she moved from Miss Russian LA, and now she's doing it. She's doing a national Miss Russian US. So good for her. She's a wonderful person to work with. She's a very aggressive uh, uh, woman in business, as you should be, I guess, when you do something like that, right? So she's not like she is not always easy to work with for some people, but
I think because she's determined and she knows what she wants.
Exactly. So some people are not okay with that. Some people want things to come easy to them, and she's a very strong personality. And to me, it was really, I had a great pleasure working with her, and I think she makes sense. She, she is adequate. She's professional, and she knows what she wants. She knows what she needs, and she brings the show to people. I'm not sure what's going to happen now, but we'll see. That's exciting.
Was it easy for you to adapt when you first got here to the US? What was your experience like?
Say it again.
What was your experience like when you first got here to the US? How was that hard? Was that hard for you?
Oh, when I first got into US, wow, that was like, honestly, when I was changing countries, I thought that 1 year was like 5 years of experience, right? Because yeah, and I feel like I lived 3 different lives. It was interesting, it was hard, it was bizarre, and now I look back at it. I was 21 and I just came here by myself.
Really? I didn't know that. You came by yourself?
Yeah, I came here because I got a grant when one of the Los Angeles choreographers, he was a choreographer of Britney Spears. His name was Andrea Fuentes, and unfortunately he passed away from cancer a few years back, but he was really this huge inspiration for me to come to US. And so I won that grant to come here for this dance camp, right? And that's what moved me to come here. And I started with New York, and I went to the schools in New York. Then I rested in Miami, because in New York, I think I was doing like 6 or 7 dance classes a day, so my body was destroyed.
Oh my God! Wow.
And then I came to LA, and yeah, it was really interesting. And now looking back, I realized how different I was, how different the mentality was. And you don't understand when you are in the experience. You just come with your viewpoint, right, with your point of view to the reality. But you come to a different country, and people are different, everything is different, everything works differently. And then going to Brazil, it's a different page, it's different people. So you really, by traveling so much, you become so open-minded about people's views, because you start understanding that different people like different things because they grew up in a different culture, right? And that just opens you up a lot.
Well, so when you went to New York, that was always strange because East Coast and West Coast are obviously different coasts. When you got to Miami, what was that like for you?
Oh, it was so slow, seriously. First time when I came to New York, and someone referred me to a friend of theirs, and this friend was on the phone, and he was talking as he does, but I did not understand the word because he was talking so fast. And he was like as New Yorkers do, right? And I was like, hold on a second. And then going to Miami, yeah, it was a very different scene, and the life is slower, and people are slower, and they have this Cuban flavor to the whole thing, right? Florida.
Did you like that aspect when it came to the dancing and the music?
In Miami?
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know if I could really experience that to that extent, because I didn't live there, right? I came to visit, and I was mostly still at that point so tied to the Russian community that I would come to Miami, and it would be like, partying in Moscow, because as we know, Russians love places like Miami, right? So like I came to Miami, and I saw all the same people as I would see in Moscow, and that was bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so when you got to Los Angeles, what was that like for you? So would you consider yourself a West Coast girl now?
I love LA. I did not like LA at first. I did not understand the city, because all I saw was the freeway between the dancing schools, right? I did not see the city. When you come to LA and you see all those recommended places for a tourist, you should just like scratch all of those out and not go there, because it's cheesy. But then you have to take the local, and you have to show and he has to show you the like real cool places here, right? So my experience was that for 2 weeks I spent in LA. I just saw dancing schools, and I'm like, yeah, dancing schools are great, but the city really sucks. And then for the first time in my life, I missed my plane, and I was already in the airport, and it was late at night, but I was tired. For some reason, I went to like buy a cup, and then I was tweeting. It was still like the Twitter age, so I was tweeting, and I missed my boarding. So my friends picked me up, and I changed my flight, and for 2 days they were just hosting me. I was sleeping on a boat of a friend, and they took me to like Santa Monica, and they took me to I was in Marina del Rey, and I really experienced the leisure in LA, and that's when I really fell in love with the city. And that was this happy accident, right? Nothing is an accident, but it was this happy accident when something bad happened, but then it led to me actually feeling the city in so much in such a better way.
See, yes, it is it's a segregated city, but there's so many different things you can do all up. And the people are really nice when you get to, as you would say, when you get to know them. And a lot of it is by accident, but nothing is an accident. There aren't any coincidence.
Absolutely. And I went last year, I went to New York for Miss Russia US. And I really experienced the difference between the coasts, because there, you know, people are a little more energetic because they have to be.
It's rush, and they're very rude, but they speak their mind to your face.
Yeah. Yes. So I guess I'm far from that anymore, because I think being Russian is also has that in your mentality. It has more of the New Yorker vibe, right? But then being in California, it's a very different thing. And one example that I use is like I went to you were going to the cafe in LA, and people are like, oh no, please, you go ahead. Oh no, you go ahead, you went here first. Oh no, you go ahead, please go. Oh no, you go ahead, right? Like it's that's how it is. And then New York is like, I came here first. No, you were behind me. No, I came here first. That's very rude. You're very rude. You should not exist. You know?
How many languages do you speak?
I speak Russian, English, Portuguese, and a little bit of Spanish. I'm clearly losing my Portuguese because
Don't lose it. I forgot about that. I could have brought you to. Oh my God! I was looking for somebody who spoke Portuguese. I forgot.
Ah!
I haven't given up. I have something because it was his name is Sergio Mendes. Huge in the world of Portuguese music. He brought bossa nova music over, and I did an interview with him at the Grammy Museum, and I wanted this other girl to do it, and then I couldn't hear from her. And I'm like, I need someone who speaks just the language to talk to him, even though he has English, but I wanted both of those languages.
Oh, not only I love Portuguese, but bossa nova was actually the reason the big part of the reason why I moved to Brazil. I really, really love the music. And I really do love it.
And I'll send you a link to the interview. I'll see if I can get the documentary and send it to you, because his name is Sergio Mendes. Getting ready to do an interview with the director on something else coming up, Gary Marshall, the world famous director, and then after that, Herb Albert. Herb Albert actually produced Sergio Mendes's record, what is it, Brazil 66, on that flavor coming over, which was good. Oh man, I wish I had known.
It's okay.
I'm not going to forget now.
No.
See, this is the reason why you do interviews, because you do so many things. Talk about you being a martial artist, and then what happened after you gave up your crown and started doing interviews, and then you started doing other stuff, obviously.
So you're talking about my transition from pageantry to what I am now, right? So right now I am actively studying real estate. This is an interesting profession, I think, and I think it's I hope it's gonna still exist, but it's an interesting thing. And to support that, I actually learned bartending. And
I wanted to go to that bar that you were doing it at. I wanted to see you in action. Yeah,
I learned mixology, and I started working in 2 places, in 2 bars, but clearly now this is not happening. So right now I'm actually exploring things that can be done live, and I really do believe that live broadcasting is the future. And there is have you heard of the app called Live Me?
Yes, but I don't know about it though. What is? Can you just?
Yeah, so this is pretty much. Have you seen? Do you know Periscope? Do you know, like on Instagram they go live? So the app Live Me, it's 4 years old at the moment, and it is made with a purpose for people who are performers, who have talents, and they stream their talents live, and they get paid for it with presence, or like with a certain currency that is on the app. No sexual or violent content is allowed. Of course, you know, the grade of people are very different. They're just like, sometimes you can see like a pretty girl who's just staring at the camera and smiling, and there's an audience for that. But sometimes you can find, you know, very, very beautiful singers, great musicians, great dancers, just comedians who stream live, who talk to people. Sometimes they're just people who just like to talk to people, who like to entertain, right? So I'm looking at that, and I am actually scouting talents, because there's an agency that my friend has created that hires specifically broadcasters with whatever talents that they can broadcast with. And on top of the money that you make on the app, if you meet the numbers with the times and you know, the daily numbers that you when you go live, the agency also pays you the salary. So I am interested in finding really talented people, you know, who enjoy talking on camera, and maybe recruiting them into that, because I think people now need that. People need to see talented people. People need to see performers, because you can't at the moment, you can't just go and see the performers, right? So, and plus it's connection, it's interaction, it's for people who are socially awkward, right? Who can't or don't want to talk to people. They can feel like they have friends. So, and again, going back to what we were talking about in the previous broadcast, I really feel like mental health is important. So people have to stay connected through this time of disconnect. And I really back on that. And that's one of the, you know, one of the things that I'm looking at right now.
Well, and that's tough because, you know, for those people who suffered from anxiety or depression, or even, you know, had suicidal tendencies, this is not good for them. So a lot of them might not reach out. So again, it goes back to what you just said. We do have to reach out to them no matter what. And that's a little hard for me to understand sometimes, because I'm used to calling everybody and checking on them. And then when you can't reach someone, you're like, you're not understanding what they might be going through that minute, that hour, that day. And that's hard sometimes.
For sure. Absolutely. And, you know, I would love to say that, because people have to hear it. You have to really take care of your mental health right now, because during this time of disconnect, it's really easy to go off track, and you will not notice. You will not notice when that happens, and then you will not be able to tell. So it's really important to call your friends, to call your parents, to check in, right? To shout out whenever you need help, whenever you need connection. It's really, really important right now.
What are you doing to maintain everything? What are you doing to keep everything up for you? Because like I said, you're funny. The videos that you make just make me laugh.
Okay, well, I actually I came up with a challenge for myself, and like it looks like this. It's like a
Of course you did, because you're always doing things.
It's a checklist of things that I have to do every day to, you know, to have to maintain my shape, to maintain my looks, right? To maintain my mental health. Like right now, and it may change later. It's a dance. I need to dance every day. I'm doing a plank. I'm stretching my splits. I'm doing my face care, scalp massage. Massage is very important. And 8 cups of water, and the emotional journal. So like this is something that my therapist advised to, because right now there is not so much you don't have an outlet for your emotions that much, right? So in the situation when you are living in the situation with your, like, a spouse, right, your kids, your brothers, sisters, whoever it is, you may use them as an outlet for your emotions, which is wrong, right? So doing the emotional journal is important. And then of course reconnecting with people, calling my mom every day, calling my friends, my girlfriends, like checking in on them, and working, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, give your social media outlets.
Okay, so my Instagram is Anna_A_Whalen, and it pretty much it will take you everywhere else, I think.
And then, so what do you got going on now? What do you hope to have happen, or even maybe go back to in a different way once this kind of clears? Because we both know it's going to be a while. I like
Right.
I say, nothing really starts to get going until mid-September, no matter what people say. It just takes a while to get everything done to adjust a different whole way.
Okay, so I am expecting to get my real estate certification, or at least to be absolutely ready for that by the time when I can pass the test. I have my third book to finish and third test in this like one, like there are gradations, right, in this whole certification thing, and that's going. I am expecting to develop the following on Live Me, and to start making money that way, because like my friend, she is on the app for a year, and she that supports her life. She was traveling, and until now. Right,
Right,
so
right.
it's a very promising thing, and I'd love to recruit people for that. And once this is over, the lockdown is over, I have a short-term plan and a long-term plan, and eventually I would like to develop the income, possibly with real estate, that will start working on itself. It will start generating money on its own, and within 10 years I'll be able to just do whatever. just
Do-
just broadcast for fun, and share about share my life for fun, and talk to interesting people like you. That's I
No,
love doing it.
I'm actually quite boring. It's the other way around to me. I think you're fascinating.
You are fascinating. You are interested in so many things. You are finding so many interesting people and connecting them together. I think it's very important, especially now. So thank you so much.
It's important to give people their voice to talk. Everybody has a story. Not everybody gets to share it. And I want
Very valuable.
people to
Thank you so
share
much.
their stories.
Thank you.
Talk about we got a couple minutes left. Talk about, are you getting a chance to watch any movies or anything like that in between your stretching and stuff like that? And talk about those funny videos that you make.
Okay. So movies. I actually I'm excited to see Parasite for a while. I still haven't seen it. We're watching old movies, but mostly we're watching shows at the moment. But I have less and less time to do that. But yes, you know what? I would like your recommendations on movies actually.
Well, there's a couple of them. On Netflix, you could see a movie called Self-Made. And it's
Self-made.
October Spencer in it. It's about the first African American millionaire. She ended up being the first woman in the United States who was a self-made millionaire with a hair care product. So that's one. Another one is Black Godfather. It's actually a good film. He has been touched by everybody and actually touched everybody's lives. So I want
I'm going to write it down. So
so
self-made.
Self-Made,
Then what's the second one?
Black Godfather.
Oh.
And then, if you get a chance, for people who like tattoos, I don't have any tattoos or anything like that. LA Originals. There's one guy called Ghost in South Central LA. He's always been a photographer, a graffiti artist. They have this every artist, movie star. A lot of people have gone to this person and to get tattoos done by him or had their photos taken from all these other people. It's called LA Originals.
Mm-hmm.
And then
That's great.
if you like other things like that, since you can't go to the movies yet, and I wouldn't recommend going to the movies yet as someone who loves to go to the movies, and I go to the movies in Georgia, it's not the right time to go to the movies, so don't be fooled by that. I'll let you know when it's the right time. But when it comes to that, is you want to pay homage to a lot of those classic movies if you can see them, whether it's on Disney Plus. I would recommend the original Mary Poppins. It's really, really
Yep.
good.
Mm-hmm. We have Disney Plus, and it's really great. There are so many things there, and yeah. So you asked about the fun videos that I make. So as I was looking at different things when the quarantine started, I stumbled upon TikTok, which is known as a new social media app that is considered to be mostly for Gen Z sort of generation, right? And it's
Yeah.
fascinating. It gives you tools to easily create very fun content, and it really spoke to me because I am a video editor, and I got into it a little bit, and like I started playing with it, and I really got into it, and I shot a few fun videos. It's so easy, you know.
Yes, I
But
don't
it's
have the time that you have to do that, but I think it's fascinating of the stuff that you're doing. Does it take a long time to do that? Because you
no, it
did one.
really once you figure it out, it's really not. It doesn't take so much time. Sometimes people, maybe I just didn't get to the videos that take so much time. But like for example, this video where I swing my leg and then I
Oh, no,
open
I like that. That was pretty cool.
and then I open the beer bottle. Well, I made it in 2 minutes, maybe three
Oh,
minutes.
wow.
Yeah, so it just allows you, like when you understand how to do it, it just allows you to do it so quickly. But you have to spend some time first figuring it out, watching tutorials and stuff like that. But it's really fun. It's really positive. It's a really engaging app.
When you grew up in Russia and before you came to United States Hollywood, was there any movies or music that really turned you on, and what brought you here? Because everybody has a reason why they come to the U.S.
Oh, you know what? I mean, I've been watching American movies since my very small childhood, right? And Disney films, and I am an animation fan specifically. But I remember one movie that moved the. This is gonna sound cheesy, but I already lived in US, and one movie that inspired me to like go forward to travel more, right? To move to Brazil was Eat, Pray, Love. 'Cause
Oh, no, that was actually a pretty interesting movie. I remember
yeah,
the interviews for that.
yeah. So it really spoke to me. It really moved me. And I'm like, yeah. And I was at this point of my life when I felt stuck, you know. And then I watched it, and I got so inspired. And then boom, and then things started happening. And then I found myself in Brazil, you know, riding my bike on Copacabana. It's really
Exactly.
wonderful. Yeah.
Hey, give your website links one more time, and then let's end with anything that's inspirational. If you had to give advice to someone who might be going to Los Angeles within the next couple months or even next year, what might that be and why?
Say it again.
Giving advice to anybody who might be moving to the States or might be moving to Los Angeles, what might that advice be and why?
Oh, okay. Well, you
Because
know,
you don't just like to
so
come here by yourself.
uh did you see the news today that Trump actually closed and restricted all the immigration?
Yeah, I did.
So honestly, I mean, I don't, I was so shook by that, and I got so influenced by that like I had to really I had to really try and like switch my mindset to do the broadcast that we did earlier, because oof, I mean that's a lot that I don't
It is
even
a
know what
lot.
it is. A
It is a
lot.
lot.
I don't know what to recommend to people now. I think I would recommend people to vote Democrat, you know. And let's start with that, and then we'll see where it leads us, because clearly uh, I don't want to talk politics a lot, but it's not welcoming right now, you know.
You
And
know what it's like coming from a communist country.
yeah, so what I would actually recommend to people who are who want to move, I would recommend them to really envision what they want, right? Because I really believe in this power of mind and your power of thought, and really envision this brighter, better future where you travel around, where you're happy, how, you know, what makes you happy in your future and stuff like that. So like this positive mindset, that's what you start with, and that takes you to that better future. That's what I know for myself, and that's what I would recommend to others.
Hey, that's a good note to leave on. All right, so right now, for Brian, for movie reviews and more, you know, please go out, check out her links. Always look at her funny TikTok videos. They are hilarious. Hilarious. Um, Again, we're at 4.5 million views a day and counting. You know, I wanted to welcome her on. I wanted to have her on going back to last August, and then the timing of everything, I saw what was happening in the world, and I wanted to always bring her on, so I would just call her and stuff like that. But I'm glad that she's come on, and it is about timing, as you said, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. I'm really excited.
So with that, we will see you next week. And please go out and support all her links, all the things that she's doing. And do not be afraid to catch up with all the stuff that we have for movie reviews and more on theartofmontague.com or youtube.com, movie reviews, the letter and more, movie reviews and more. So we will see you next week.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.